My name is Lesley Batchelor. I'm the Director General of the Institute of Export and International Trade. Incoterms are written by the International Chamber of Commerce. They have been around for about 80 years and they started off as being commercial terms that we can use internationally. So international commercial terms helps us all understand what our rights and obligations are within a buyer-seller situation. They're relevant because basically when you're dealing internationally, there's quite a lot of confusion over where something's going to be delivered and who's going to be taking responsibility for it. So effectively you need to understand what your obligations are and where the risk passes in the cargo from one to the other and actually what costs people have agreed to pay. So Incoterms were revised every 10 years and the last Incoterms made quite a few changes. So this 2020 version isn't so much changes as a new way of looking at it. They've approached the way they are explaining the terms in a much clearer way so everybody can understand better what their responsibilities are. There is one major change, which is something called delivered at terminal has now become delivered, paid, unloaded. And that actually means that you're going to be more specific about where these things are happening, because a terminal was restricting people in thinking that it was only a terminal, like a freight terminal, but actually it could be at somebody's warehouse or something. So Incoterms support contracts because they're actually set aside and alongside them. So it's very much, you can't have an Incoterm agreement on its own. You still need your contract of sale, just as you still need your terms and conditions when you actually make a sale as well. So it's supporting it, it's a legal framework, but it's actually not part of your sales contract unless you actually make it part of your sales contract. And increasingly what we're trying to do to avoid some very, very costly court cases is to encourage people to incorporate reference to the Incoterms so that actually it makes it clearer for everybody, just as you always make reference to your terms and conditions in your sales contract. Unfortunately, Incoterms revision has now come out at exactly the same time as we are really preparing very heavily for our paperwork changes and the new way we're going to be working in a new brave world, exporting to Europe as well as the rest of the world. I think it's very important that it's incorporated in all the planning people are doing instead of treating it as an add-on. But there's a lot of planning to do, so this is just one extra thing. I am hoping that people have already looked at their sales contracts, their distributor agreements, their agency agreements, their freight agreements, their contractual obligations to any forwarders they use. There's a lot to be considered, which is why a lot of us worry about whether or not businesses are ready. You can find out about Incoterms by going on the International Chamber of Commerce website. Also, you'll find if you go to the Institute of Export or Strong and Heard, we both are running courses on behalf of them with accredited trainers who understand how to do that. Half-day courses probably are the norm, and it's a very interesting world.